Hi, folks. This is Jay. This is just a quick animation sped up from about an hour's work. I just want to try and draw Marlin and see if I can get her to say something with Marlin's voice actress Netios. So it's just a quick sketch, and a lot of this you can't see because it's off screen on a different screen. So I'll fix that for the next time, where you'll see both screens at once, so you can see the timeline and how that's interacted with, and how the coloring is done and all that because you're missing out on quite a bit. But I'm going to follow along with you and you'll get to see this happen in real time. But as you can tell, she's from a medieval period, sorry. And I'm thinking uh, from a deserty place. I'm not quite sure yet. It's just I know she lives in a port town, and because it's called Porto is the name of the town, and this is where she meets her first friend. This is where her family moves to. There's not a lot of backstory to the parents because you first meet them uh, earlier, as you did in the first video, where they're on the ship and the mother is giving birth to Marlin, and I'll be getting back to that after this later today. But I'm just filling out some keyframes. And the great thing about Clip Studio Paint is that you can just copy your frames and paste them in and then make subtle changes. But what I didn't notice while I was doing that was I was actually messing up the mouths, which wasn't great. And you can see that she has no arms, right? Because it's like, well, she's not. She's gonna be doing something with her arms, but I haven't put them in yet because they're the last action to be put in, and I'm just keyframing her into the audio, which I don't know if you want to hear next time. Uh, but I'll include the finished product at the end of this, and I'll work on the ums and ahs. Sorry, this is just nerves from not doing this for a while. Just give me a second and I'll clear it up. It's also from using software that I don't exactly know how to remove the ums and ahs from. But anyway, more keyframes. It was actually a rather simple animation. It only took about an hour, as you can probably tell from the simple clothing and the simple mouth movements and the deranged look on her face. Maybe I should speed this up a little bit faster next time, because it took an hour, and I'm I sped it up 500%, so it took 11 minutes to do this. Here's adding in the arm and some thumbs and fingers just to give it some form. And I believe I do the outmost stretch, yeah, the innermost stretched arms, and then I do a midway point, and I time that between them. Let me see. Yeah, I take a green, I believe. Yep, and I time that between them, just so that they're equal. Though they're not perfect, but it's all that I needed to do. So there's that, and here she is speaking. And as you can see, there's a little bit of clipping from the me just not noticing the eraser marks. Yeah, and I could have made it smoother and added in more lines and more. keyframes and animation cells. But this was just a quick and dirty reference shot of her sitting to see how she's doing and to see if I could recreate the character again. And it looks like I can, which is great because it means I made a simple enough character to redraw, and I can give you a height and a relative size. Because I guess she's small because she's a mouse, right? Yeah. I kind of like that the software shows you where the cursor's going. And I decided I was gonna do a background for this real quick, and then I changed my mind. So you'll see this kind of sling past and then disappear. Because I was researching Samarkand, Samarkand fabric stores, and this is how they looked or look now. I'm not quite sure, but they're gorgeous. Just the amount of different linens and textiles, it's incredible. Uh, so I was thought I'd recreate that there, and then like, oh well, and maybe not. I'll do it in the next one. Yeah, I got rather involved in this before I gave up on it. And it's like, no, 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 no. Back to the real work. And then I started coloring her in. And this was, I believe, just 3 or 4 frames. It really wasn't a lot. Not a lot at all. So I'm just coloring in her hands and her head and her legs. And you can see where they are in space as the timeline moves on. Real simple stuff, real just basic cell shading. No shadows, no lights, no sense of perspective. Just just coloring in the character just for the sake of coloring her in. And that's about it, really. I mean, I go through, I color in each piece. The funny thing is, her ears match her veil on her tunic, which helps save on coloring, but brings your eye down the character so that you actually are drawn down towards the whole character's center mass and focus on the mouth because it triangulates the mouth. And it's just something that I noticed while I was coloring. Now it has no reason to be pink, but it's just a stylistic choice, you know. And if you notice on the blown up version, there's a rather terrible outline that I couldn't see while I was drawing, and that's just because my display is 4K, I think. And with 4K, it's the image is so small that you can't notice it. So I'm hoping with my new screen from XP, which is 2.5K, even though they claim it to be 2K, it's 2.5K, which is fantastic. I should be able to see more detail and make less errors. Plus, it's bigger, so I should be able to do that too. Uh, double over again. Here we go, coloring in the arms. think the last part was the hair, yeah. Oh no, second to last part was the hair. Oh, missed a bit. Yeah, and then color in her eyes. Need to fix that right eye. That right eye is, or her left eye is not kosher. Yeah. Anyway, so now she's just talking some more. We're running through the animation to make sure I didn't miss anything. And I realize I color in her nose and her mouth that it's picking up the wrong mouth movements because it's holding onto the wrong keyframes. So I had to delete that part. So that's a bummer. That's part of the character design, was holding onto the shading there. And then I believe that's just me saving her, and she's done.
Welcome to my world.